Hi, I'm Jan, owner of the Cherry Pick Quilt Shop, and today I have Teresa with me, who is one of my employees, who's going to share a special ruler that we're going to use today. We're going to demo how to make half square triangles. And I use a certain ruler and she uses a certain ruler, but you get the same end result. It's just a personal preference which one you use. So if we are using, we've cut 3-inch squares. The size of your half square triangle depends on what your pattern calls for, but we're starting with 3-inch triangles. So the first thing first thing we need to do is cut these in half. We're using 2 different colors because we want a different effect of our half square triangles. So now we have 2 triangles to use. When you sew, you put right sides together. And we're going to sew on the long side a 1/4 inch seam. Then we're going to make 2 blocks, so I'll sew the second one together here. Okay, this is where the difference starts. The one that I'm going to do has to be pressed open, and the one that she's going to do, you do not press open. That's the difference in the rulers. Okay, so here is a half square triangle that we need to trim up. Now we started with 3-inch squares. This will be a 2.5-inch finished square. This is called block lock. And there are different sizes. This one happens to be a 4.5, but there's a 2.5 and a 6.5. You have a groove here. This is an indentation in the ruler. We want this part of the groove to attach itself, when it's not really attaching, but catch itself on the seam. Okay? So we're going to square it up 2.5. So first thing we're going to do is make sure we have it at 2, and it's a little bigger than 2.5 right now. So I'm going to trim this side off, and then I'm going to trim this side off. And this is when it's really nice to have a rotating mat, because then you don't have to pick anything up. You turn it around. You slide that block lock ruler down your seam. Make sure you now have it at the 2.5-inch mark, and you're going to trim both sides again. So now you have half square triangles trimmed to 2.5. So that's the ruler that I like to use. Of course, there are other ways to do a half square triangle. So remember, we started off with the 3.5-inch squares, cut them diagonally, sewed them together, then squared it to 2.5.
All right, Jan showed you how to trim up a half square triangle with a lock block. Now I'm going to show you how to use a slotted trimmer. And I love these things. The lock block is a great tool, but this one is also. And I'm going to show you one of them. Okay, when we trim this, we're going to trim it on the, we're going to place the seam on the dotted lines right here. And I don't know if you can see this or not. And this one's already been trimmed, so you can see I've got it on the 2.5, and it's going to finish up at 2. And this trimmer here will trim up to a 6.5 square. So, but anyways, I just wanted you to see the lines here. That's where you're going to lay your half square triangle, and all the way up to a 6.5. The slots also, as you can see, the ears have been trimmed off. You take your little, let me just move this. When you're trimming your half square, then you're going to come in here and trim your little dog ears off here. Let's see, like this. And you just do that on both sides. And that cuts those ears off, so you don't have those to worry with when you get finished with your half square. Okay, you're going to place the dotted lines on your sewn lines, and then you're going to just hold it, cut your edges, and then you're going to cut your dog ears. That is why they call it the slotted trimmers, because you can cut your ears off right here. Now, this one is done before you press it open.